starting doing things, it's really a balance of not letting your fears get in the way of your greatness in one way too. Because I think a lot of us are also afraid of like doing the big things that we actually are able to do or have the capacity to do. So that also influenced me a lot. Nelson Mandela said that I learned that the courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man or woman is not he who does not feel afraid, but who conquers that fear. And I think that has been also very important to me. It's one way when you start things up, but also during the trip you find a lot of obstacles, and in the same way, if you're trying to develop both society and yourself, as an entrepreneur you have to work with yourself all the time, and then it's important in one way to always, when you find that fear, to try to see it and to conquer it, and not to like let it stop you. Now we're coming to Retoy. So I was thinking, what can I do? And I said, I was working as a consultant before I founded Retoy. And I actually started talking to one of my closest friends, Soledad, that we wanted to do something different, because we have this challenge in Sweden that everybody knows about the sustainability issues that we're challenging, but at the same time, we don't really act in the way that we should act. And we also felt that we needed we wanted to work with children. And I was talking, and I said that I didn't want to like go around and be telling the time. I wanted to build a clock. And it's a big difference if you like pointing at something that is not right and you're like saying, now you have to look, this is happening to the world. Instead of trying to like build something that it tells it for itself, and also in trying to find ways to do things differently. And in this, do you know what this is? Chinese. Yeah, it's this Chinese symbol for crisis. And what I like about this symbol is that it's composed by two different symbols. One of them is opportunity, and the other one is fear. And this is also when I think we're facing a big sustainability crisis in the world, both from a social, environmental, and economical perspective. And at the same time, many of us, we can get like really afraid of it, or we can try to, and it's good to face that fear, because it makes you also act. But it's really also important to try to see the opportunities. In one way, in a lot of crises, you realize a lot of things, and it's also a way to reshape things and to try to make things differently. If you're able to conquer that fear and try to see the opportunities in it. Do you know who this is? Pippi.
Yes.
Yeah, she's one of my biggest role models.
Yes.
It's Pippi Longstocking. And she's this little orphan girl, actually, and she's really strong. So she can carry her own horse. And she's the creation of one of our biggest writers in Sweden that writes literature for children. And Pippi Longstocking says that if you're really strong, you also have to be very nice and kind. And I always like her because she's this girl that walks her own path and do things her own way. And as a woman, even here in Sweden, it's not always that easy, and especially if you like trying to do things differently. And Pippi always has like big shoes. And I find a quotation that said, it's not your feet, they're too big, they're your shoes are too small. And for me, it's like that quotation, when I was like, what does it mean? What am I big too? What is it trying to say? And a friend of me explained that sometimes you feel like you don't fit in different places, and it's not because you don't fit in, it's because the structure make you feel like you don't fit in. So it's like, it's not the size of your feet, but are the shoes that you're actually wearing that don't fit. And it's a constant, how do you say, coincidence. Yeah, that Phoebe always has like really big shoes, so she can fit into them. But Phoebe also has the ability to do things differently. She, in all her drawings, she often has the shoes in the pillow. And she's like, she tried to do things from different perspectives, and she plays a lot. And I think that's also very important to keep the playing alive and trying to do things differently. So now we're landing in. What do you think of when you see this picture?
Don't see, don't hear, don't say.
No, I see,
I hear, I say.
Yes,
See the opposite.
it's the opposite. So what Sally and I, when we were talking about what we want to do, we want to change something, we started thinking that we want to do something where children from the beginning actually learn to see, to hear, and to say. So that's how, and we knew, as I said before, that in this part of the world, even if in me, I still have that dream that in the future I want to do things in refugee camps or in other parts of the world. We started, what can we do here that actually can make a difference for a lot of children all over the world? And one of the things, and we identified 3 challenges that we have in Sweden. One is the overconsumption, and then we need to change the consumption patterns that we have. And even if the children's, they are like the future, they will consume in the future, but they also affect the way we consume today. In one way, it's important. For me as a parent, for example, I have my son. His name is Ali. He's like, if you ask him, he's a rocker. He's been a rocker since he's very small. He loves guitars. So I bought him 5 guitars. And that for me is like, one day I got home, I was like, what have I done? Instead of like buying him 1 guitar that he really appreciates and treasures, from my guilt sometimes that I work a lot and I'm moving here and then, it's like on my way home I see a guitar and I buy it to him. And what he needs is time with me and like appreciating the guitar that he has, not like 5 guitars, and we don't even know where to put them in this room. So I thought in one way it's important for me, it's like what am I teaching and what values am I like giving my son? And the other thing is that when I explain to him the difference when if you buy something that is fair trade or is ecological, if you have to explain something to a child, you realize that you have to really understand it to be able to explain it to a child. So I explained the difference between fair trade and common trade, and if it's ecological, if it's not ecological. And he was like, okay, and I said at the end, it's like, that's why it's really important, if we have the options, you always have to choose the product that is fair trade. And if you have the option, you always have to choose the product that's ecological comparing to another one. And after that, he always is like, every time we go to the store, it's like, is it ecological? Is it fair trade? Why are you buying coffee? It's not fair trade. And why? And he was like, oh my God, what have I done? Because it's like on me all the time. What did you say?
Why did I open this door?
Yeah, exactly.
So if I told her something, put it here, she never changed it.
Exactly. And I think all of us that have children know that children do as we do, not as we say.
Yeah.
And I realized that in one way it was really, and it's important for me to like, what values do I have and how do I want him to be? And when he started like telling me, it made me actually act more coherent with my own values. And the big challenge that we have here when it comes to consumption is that a lot of us say we want to consume in one way, but when we're at the store, we don't make those choices that actually make a lot of difference. And I thought if a lot of children get like this conscience, you say conscience? When you have, yeah, that they act like our conscience in one way. Because like, and I know that if I continue doing this way, consuming in one way, we are not going to get 3 other planets. So this actually affects Ali's life in the future. And it makes me in one way, I have to start changing now and thinking about it. So that's how Rita was